Hey everybody, what's going on? It's Mitch from We in Tennessee. And today's video, because Tennessee was the 16th state that entered the Union, it's going to be 16 reasons why I love Tennessee. Okay, so in no particular order, here we go. Number 16, the reason I love living in Tennessee is because the car registration is so cheap. In California, we were paying $200, $300, $400 per year in car registration. Here in Tennessee, your car registration as of 2023 is $29. And it doesn't matter what car you drive. In California, we would pay more if you had a newer car. Here in Tennessee, brand new 20 years ago, $29. Because we have the Friends of the Smokies license plate, we paid $65 for each of our cars. And so if you don't want all the frills and frazzle, $29. Can you beat that? Number 15 would be it's raining right now. So in Tennessee, we don't have a water problem. Back in California, we would always hear drought, drought, drought. You cannot water your lawn on Monday, Tuesday, whatever days. You were just told that you had to cut back on water. Here in Tennessee, we get so much rain, water is cheap, and you're not told when you can do anything. Not that we even need to have sprinklers because the rain just waters everything. So it's just awesome here in Tennessee that you have rivers, you have lakes everywhere, and you're not told when you have to use water or not. You never have to cut back, and water is really cheap. Coming in at number 14, it feels so patriotic here in Tennessee. You know, back in California, it was just so political and just so blue state that it just made you feel like, oh, you know, I should not like the place that I live. I shouldn't like my country. You know, it gets into sports where they won't even recognize the national anthem and things like that. And here in Tennessee, it's just embraced. Fireworks for 4th of July and just United States flags, whereas in other parts of the country, the flag is looked upon or frowned upon. And it just feels so good to be in a place where you take pride in your country. You take pride in defending your country. You take pride in where you are. And you just love the fact that here in Tennessee, you know, you just feel that. You can just sense that people love their country, pride in their country, and not the other way around where you're made to feel like, hey, this is not a good place to be in. Shame on the United States. Shame on not even recognizing the national anthem. But the feeling of patriotism here just, it makes you feel all warm inside. Coming in at number 13, it's just no nonsense here with the school system and trying to shove things down the students' throats. No gender issues, no, political issues. Here it's just, hey, we need to make sure you know what you're supposed to know. And take it from me, because I teach here, we are in fact, things are banned to talk about here in Tennessee, like no gender talk. You just give them the facts and let the parents deal with all of those issues. So what I love about Tennessee is just no nonsense. Don't bring things into the school system that should be for the parents to handle. And so that's what I love. It's just teach the kids what they need to know and forget all this other crazy stuff that you can just leave and take it with you. Coming in at number 12, here in Tennessee, there's no state income tax. So coming from California, where they wanted to tax you on everything, you guys know the car registration, the gas taxes, where they came out of the blue with something to tax you on. And now I hear that they're trying to tax you for leaving California and selling your house. So here in Tennessee, no state income tax. And so, in fact, this past weekend, there was no sales tax on school supplies or, things like that, where you feel like the state's not just trying to squeeze every last penny out of your pocket. And that's what California did. I mean, come on, those of you that are still living there know they will figure out some way to tax you and then be able to fund whatever kind of crazy political thing or fund, something that they're just frivolously giving away money, socialist type, if you know what I mean. Coming in at number 11, I just love in Tennessee how people talk to each other respectfully. I always hear a no ma'am, yes sir, just a proper way to talk to people. It's just something that I think has carried over from generation to generation, and people notice it. I notice it. I just overhear conversations in the store. Someone might say to the grocery person, hey, do you have this? I hear a no ma'am. And so it's just refreshing to hear people respectfully talk to each other, because back in California, and I'm sure other places, and don't get me wrong, I'm sure there's a handful of people who don't talk to each other right, but just the overall attitude here, I just hear people respectfully talk to each other rather than other ways. Coming in at number 10, I just love the pace of life here in Tennessee. So don't get me wrong, it's not laziness, it's just people are just not in the rat race. I don't see people in the freeways you're going to have fast drivers all the time. But in California, it just felt like everything was just going left and right, people coming and going, and life just seemed to be so sped up. Here, people are busy, but again, they're always willing to lend you a hand, do anything that you want, within reason. And it just feels like the pace of life is slower, or again, I've talked about this when driving, when people on those 2-lane roads, when somebody's got to turn, it just feels like, okay, that's just a part of life that we wait until that person turns. And none of this rudeness and come on, I got to get somewhere, because the pace of life other places is just so fast. And coming in at number 9, here in Tennessee, you actually get 4 distinct seasons. You can actually tell what season it is. Back in California, we had summer and you had winter. The spring and fall seemed to be like, can you really tell? But here in Tennessee, man, the fall of 2022 was just amazing. It has rained so much, so I'm hoping that this fall will be amazing too. But the colors and just the brilliance of it, there were some things I had never seen with my eyes before until coming here to Tennessee. The winter, we had a real good winter. I mean, our low temperature was, I believe, 5 degrees was our low. But yeah, we got the snow, and it was just really cool to see winter. And then summer, we're baking right now, and it's humid. But again, it won't be like this all year long. And then, the spring, man, just the rain we had, and, the rain we get a lot. But then the flowers and the trees, just amazing. So if you're into 4 seasons, this is the place for you. And coming in at number 8, going along with, being patriotic to the country, in Tennessee, they're patriotic to the state. I see so many Tennessee flags. I see so many University of Tennessee volunteer gear. I mean, it just feels like the spirit here in Tennessee is just, everyone is just patriotic and prideful for their state. They'll wear it on their backs. They'll wear it on their bumper stickers. There's just pride in the state. And without, you can think about it, hey, there's a lot to be prideful about, because Tennessee is just so amazing in so many different ways that people aren't afraid to shout it out from the rooftops, from their car, from their flags, to just everywhere. It's just a very unique situation where people here in this state really love it, don't want to leave unless, they might have a job or something somewhere else. But people genuinely just love this state and aren't afraid to show it. Coming in at number 7 is safety. We feel very safe. And I know you might say, well, hey, Mitch, don't get, too relaxed, or don't get this false sense of security. But you know what? There are times where I don't lock my car. I'm like, oh, well. Don't lock the front door. Oh, well. And back in California, you just had this like, check everything, make sure everything's locked up. And here, it's just by habit that I'll hit the alarm on my car. But there's a lot of times where I'll forget and feel like, hey, what's the big deal? It just feels safe here in Tennessee. And definitely with people being able to carry, you know what I'm talking about as far as Second Amendment rights here. being able to carry, it also feels safer knowing that, hey, if I go to the grocery store, I'm going to be able to protect somebody. They'll be able to protect me, just because it's a little bit, well, I say a lot bit more free to carry arms here in Tennessee. Coming in at number 6 and number 5 is land. And let me tell you the difference between the two. Here, you get so much land, and you get what you pay for, but you guys have heard me in other videos where you just get so much land, you get so much front yard, you get so much backyard. Those of you in California, you're gonna laugh. And I've been in houses where you could probably hand somebody the Grey Poupon out your window and hand it to them in their window. I mean, it was so close. You could hear your neighbors, you could see your neighbors. I mean, very close. And here, it just feels like there's so much room in between your neighbors. And again, if you live in the city, that's going to be a little different story. But out here, where we live, it just feels like you got the elbow room, and you're close enough to help out your neighbors. But again, you're not going to be handing your neighbors things out your window. And then the other side of land is, it feels so good to be able to see countryside. And then if you need to, it feels like 5 minutes later, you could be right in the middle of seeing a Walmart or a McDonald's. So you get the best of both worlds here in Tennessee, as opposed to back in California. It seemed like you had to drive pretty far to get to the mountains, or if you wanted to see countryside or beaches. Here it just feels like everything is just so close within distance. And coming in at number 4, that's the big reason why my family and I moved out here, is Tennessee is just predominantly conservative. I mean, sure, you have some issues in Memphis and Nashville of, being a little blue there, well, maybe a lot blue. But when you come out here to Tennessee and you go to, the rural areas, you're going to find a lot of conservatism. And it just feels good to just see a church on every block and just know that the values that you share are shared the same way out here, where, the love of God and love of country, you feel it here, as opposed to California, where they wanted to kick God out of schools and prayer out of schools. So you guys know what I mean. So here in Tennessee, that's the reason why we wanted to stay here. We had family that said, hey, how about possibly Virginia? And we're like, well, the whole reason was we wanted to come to Tennessee because we knew it was red and it would stay red. And Lord willing, it will stay red for a long time. It seemed like Virginia could possibly waver back and forth. So Tennessee, thank you for being red. Actually, numbers 2 and 3 are together. Number 3 would be the Smoky Mountains. Man, we just love the Smoky Mountains. In fact, that was a big reason why we moved to East Tennessee. A lot of folks said, hey, why East Tennessee? And the Smoky Mountains, man, if you're an outdoor person, just a beautiful scenery person, rivers, lakes, mountains, just gorgeous everything, man, the Smoky Mountains are it. And that's what just drew us. In fact, when we were driving back to California, even before we decided to move out here, we were just like, man, the Smokies is just awesome. And then with number 2, just the flat out beautiful scenery here. And you can say California and other states have their beautiful scenery, Utah. But as you know, in California, it was just a lot of desert where we lived. But here you have so many green trees. And the green is the thing that just captures you. It rains so much, so everything is so green. You got the rivers, you got the lakes, and then just everything else to go with it. Countryside, anything you would want. Scenic-wise, Tennessee, we got it here. In fact, even you get snow. And so that's just a really good thing if you're just into beautiful scenery. Coming in at number 1 has to be the people. Now, don't get me wrong, there's beautiful people everywhere. I left a lot of beautiful family back in California. But just as a whole, and it might just be because Tennessee is so conservative, the people here, you've heard me say it before, no worries. And hey, no worries as far as, anything that you might be worried about. They're just like, hey, we got this. My neighbors, They saw that our grass, when we first moved in, need to be mowed. They're like, no worries, we got this. We'll mow your lawn for you. I mean, Tennessee folks as a whole will just do anything to help out their neighbor. That's just the way it is out here. And so that's just what I love. Everybody that I've run into, they're just so friendly, respectful, and they just will do anything to help you out. And so, man, it just feels so great to be here in Tennessee. And so again, our journey does not end. We're still learning a lot of new things, but definitely as a year has gone by, we are just, feeling so blessed and thriving here in Tennessee. So thank you guys so much for checking in today's video of my 16 things that I just love about this state of Tennessee. Hit that subscribe button if you like what you see, and I'll see you next week in my video.